Hey yogis, welcome to this first class of the three-part series for core stability. So today we're going to talk a little bit about our pelvic floor. So if you come to standing and take a peek at your hip bones and your pubic bone here, if you bring your hands to your hip bones and kind of trace them down towards your pelvic floor, you'll notice that your body makes this natural kind of pelvic bowl, we can call it. And if we think about that bowl as being full of water, it'll help us to remember to keep the core engaged so you don't spill that water forward or backwards too much, but you keep it nice and intact and level throughout your entire practice. So to start off, we're going to show you our two different body types, whereas we have extreme ends of the scale here. My natural arch and curvature in my back is much larger than Megan's, as you can tell. So I went through a lot of physical therapy to help correct that. But if I were to just kind of stand normal, it would look like I was sticking out my butt.
I'm very neutral.
Not cool.
Mine's super neutral, pretty flat between all the points and everything.
Yeah, so for me to engage my core, and for you, the first step would be to pull the hip points up towards the low ribs. And as we do that, you can see that my tailbone is naturally starting to lengthen down towards my heels. If Megan and I both do it together, you'll notice that my range of motion is much more significantly large than her range of motion in order to get there. So your body type might be more like mine or Megan's or in the middle. It just is dependent on how you are built and how you live your everyday life. So what we're going to do is start to bring in awareness and some conscious alignment to our spine and engage the core, hips, and glutes. So to get started, we're just going to bring our pointer fingers to our hip bones and our thumbs to our ribs. Just stand normal here, and you can kind of tell that your fingers are spread wide apart here. So if you start to pull the hips up towards the ribs and lengthen the tailbone down towards the heels, you'll notice that your fingers get a little closer together. Now from there, think about your ribs not as expanding out, but as threading them together, like you were gonna weave them into one another. And then pull your belly button in towards your spine. Your core should feel nice and ignited now. Beautiful. So we're just going to do 3 little hip tucks together. So inhale. On your exhale, pull the hips up towards the ribs, engage the core, and release. Let's do that again. On your exhale, pull the hips in, squeeze the glutes, try to wrap the outer hips in towards the glutes, and release. One last time, press firmly into your heels, lift the hips up, squeeze, knit the ribs together, pull the belly button in towards the spine, and release. Let's take this down to the floor now and do what we call hip bridges. All right, so again, we're gonna do the same thing. So notice if your low back is touching the ground or if it's not. Our ideal form today is to bring that low back and suction it down to the mat. So in order to do that, press into your heels, pull your hips up towards your ribs, just like we did when we were standing. Now squeeze your glutes here, knit the ribs together, pull the belly button in, and release. Let's do that 2 more times. As you exhale, pull the hips up towards the ribs, squeeze, and release. Last one, pull it in, hold for 5, 4, squeeze, 3, 2, and 1, release. Nice job. So from here, you can either keep doing those if you're just getting the hang of it, or if you're ready to move on, we're gonna engage the core. So pull the hips up, press down into your heels, take a big breath in, and on your exhale, bring that right knee to float. And release down, keep the core engaged, inhale. Exhale, lift the left knee. And release. Once your foot hits the ground, you can relax. Let's do that 2 more times on each side. Inhale. And exhale, pull the hips up, press down into the heels. On your next exhale, try to keep your body really stable and just lift the right knee. Inhale it back down. Keep everything engaged. Lift the left on your exhale. Inhale it back down. Once it touches, you can relax. One last time, inhale. Exhale, pull the hips up. Squeeze the glutes, press down into the heels. And exhale, lift the right knee. Inhale it back down, keep squeezing, you've got this. Exhale, lift the left knee. Inhale it back down. And relax. So you can keep practicing those as well. Pause the video, do it for as long as you'd like. But from here, we're just going to do bridges. One last little exercise. Again, we're gonna press into the heels and lengthen the crown of the head towards the back of the mat. So slightly tuck your chin. Then pull your hips up towards your low ribs. Engage the core. Think about sectioning the back down to the mat and then really pulling the belly button down. We'll press into your heels. Place your hands on the ground. And as you inhale, slowly start to lift the hips, the glutes, and the low back off of your mat. And keep squeezing the glutes together. Keep squeezing, squeezing, squeezing. Maybe lift all 10 toes off the mat. And then keep the core engaged. We're slowly gonna lower back down. And once your butt hits the ground, you can relax. So just for one, take a peek at me. I'm gonna lift up, I'm gonna move my hands so you can see. And this is what I want you to try avoid doing. So if you start lifting up, but then relaxing the muscles and you notice that your midsection and your belly are trying to lift first and you're feeling a kink in your low back, don't do this yet. Keep practicing just those hip tucks on the ground and then maybe marches. What we want is for our glutes and our hips and our midsection to all start rising together and pressing into our heels, squeezing the glutes, wrapping the outer hips back towards the glutes so that we have a nice line all the way from our chest up to our knees. Let's try 3 of these together. On your inhale, inhale first. On your exhale, pull your hips up towards your ribs. Press down into your hands and inhale, lift the glutes and the hips up. Press down into the heels. Squeeze the thighs towards one another. Take a big breath in. Exhale, keep engaging all the way down until you hit the floor, then relax. Breathe in. Exhale, tuck the hips. Press down into the heels and the hands. Inhale, lift up. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze the glutes, the thighs in towards one another, the belly button down, and come back down. Relax. Inhale. This is our last one. We're going to hold it. Exhale, hips up towards the ribs. Squeeze everything. Engage the core as you knit your ribs together. Stay here for 5, 4. Keep breathing. 3, 2, 1. Slowly come back down. And then once you hit, lift those knees up towards your chest and just rock side to side as you hold your knees. And then let them fall over to one side and press yourself up into a seat. Feel free to replay, pause this video as many times as you like until you start becoming familiar with those hip tucks and really feeling the core and the glutes engaged. Thanks for practicing day 1 of the 3-part series. Namaste.